So we've seen that definite reference can be achieved through the use of personal pronouns, deictic reference, proper names, and definite descriptions. Personal pronouns seem to be a bit straightforward. So now we're going to talk just a bit more about deictic reference, about proper names, and about definite descriptions. Under deictic reference, we're going to see the different kinds of deictic reference. Under proper names, we're going to look at some theories of proper names. And under definite descriptions, we're going to look also into some theories of definite descriptions. Let's start with deixis. Now, deixis is basically what you can call pointing language. Why is it called pointing language? Well, you can point to something next to you and say, this book. You can point to a book further away and say, that book. So since we usually point to things when we use deixis, another nickname for deixis is pointing language. The importance of deixis is that it relates people and objects to time and place. Now, generally speaking, there are three main types of deixis: person deixis, time deixis, and place deixis. So let's start with person deixis. So the first kind is a kind of person deixis that relates to the speaker or the addressee. The second type has no relation to the speaker or the addressee. And the third type is what we will call honorifics. Examples of the first type are I, me, my, mine, you, yours, and your. Examples of the second type that have no relation to the speaker or the addressee are he, him, his, she, her, hers, it, its, they, them, their, and theirs. Now to the third part, another name for honorifics is social deixis. Examples are Your Majesty or Sir, and these of course differ from culture to culture. Alright, so now that we're done with person deixis, we can move on to time deixis. So time deixis connects the person or the object to time in the universe and that person or object's proximity in time to the other person or object. Some examples are last week to indicate past time, now, tomorrow, next week. Now we said that time deixis shows proximity in time. Let's see some examples of that. I could use the present tense as in water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Now this shows general proximity. We can also look at the past tense like John ate the apple 2 days ago. So 2 days ago shows proximity from our current time, so in the past. Then there's future tense like if I pass I'll have a party. Now this shows proximity from the current reality of time that we live in. Now that we're done with time deixis, we can move on to place deixis, the last one. Now like the time deixis, you can imagine that place deixis would show the proximity of one person or object from another person or object, but in space, not in time. So you can imagine that something can be near from you or close, and something can be far. Now there are different ways in which we can achieve or show the different types of place deixis. The first is through the use of single words like here or there, this or that. Sometimes we can use a full expression like how far away is your house from here? It is 2 miles down the road. So this expression also achieves place deixis. It shows the proximity from the speaker to his house, which is 2 miles away. Now some words or expressions can point to certain directions, while others can point to certain actions of movement. So example of direction would be under the table, or to your right, left. Example of a movement would be he went home, she left the class. And that way we can say that we have just completed deixis. Now let me just say one more thing about deixis. Deixis relates mainly to pragmatics and not semantics. So what we have introduced so far about deixis should be enough for the purposes of this course. So far, we have been talking about definite reference, and we mentioned that there's personal pronouns, deictic reference, proper names, and definite descriptions. So far we're done with personal pronouns and deictic reference. Our next focus will be on proper names and relevant theories of proper names, and then definite descriptions and relevant theories of definite descriptions.